What's going on, guys? It's Christian and Rocky here at Duel-Threat Sports. We're coming into recap on Week 6. I hope everybody had a good week and caught the Monday night game with Josh Allen, because that was fire!
Very good game. Lots
Dude,
of fun.
that was so
There was
good.
like 3 overtime or 4 overtime games this
Yeah,
week.
yeah. I've actually won now 2 out of my last 3 weeks in one of my main fantasy leagues on the Monday nighter within on the second half of the Monday night game too. Like it was, man, I love it though. I love like the not knowing what's what kind of thing. So we haven't touched on our pick'ems in a little bit. So week 6, I was 10-3. Very proud of that. You were 8-5. 1 second. So we haven't touched on our pick'ems in a while. I felt pretty good. I was 10-3, and it looks like you were 8-5. That was probably one of our best weeks, I would think. Which brings us to a total of I'm 38-20. Now, keep in mind we haven't counted every week or made pick'ems for every week. So 38-20, and you're 34-24. So we're neck and neck, pretty close. We're not doing that great, but we're not doing that bad either. Is there any game that you'd want to jump onto? I don't necessarily have an order for us. If there's a game you're excited about that we could start with, I don't mind.
I mean, Dolphins game, Dolphins Jaguars. I mean, I guess it was a good start. They started early and they upset me.
Good old London game.
Yeah, I had a 10-team pick'em that they messed me up with. I literally won all 9 of my other games and lost on that field goal. So,
that blows.
That was rough.
That sucks.
I think the Dolphins had the lead in like the last 2 or 3 minutes too. So it was rough.
I feel bad for you, but I feel worse for London to have to watch those shitty teams.
Yeah, crappy game, man.
It's so bad. It happens every year. It's always the Jaguars and the Jets. I always see the Jaguars and the Jets play in London.
They're more than happy to make the trip.
Yeah, they're right. They're used to football, not football. So, throw them a bone sometime, man. Get Tom Brady up in there or something. What's probably funny is you can get a main team and there's a chance that they don't know who it is.
It's just, I don't know, this game's just more surprising in the fact that Dolphins are a better team than 1-5, so it's just pretty alarming that they're again 1-5 now. But
well, I mean, Tua's health has been shaky. Their number one wide receiver Devontae Parker's health has been shaky. Their offensive line is trash.
It's not. I don't know. I don't think I'm not as high into it as everybody else is.
I think he's good. I mean, I guess define good because there's.
I don't think he's a franchise quarterback.
As a football fan, there's amazing, and there's absolute terrible, and there's a lot in between that. So I guess you'd have to define exactly what you think people is. I don't think he's amazing. I don't think he's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just like a top guy in the league right now, but he's not the bottom half. I'll tell you, he's probably top. He's probably like top.
He's not better than Ryan Tannehill, and Ryan Tannehill's probably like the last rung.
I'd say he's top 20 or like top 18.
Tua?
Yeah.
No. So where's Tannehill?
I mean, I'd still rather have Ryan Tannehill. I think his second half of career, and he's no longer with the Dolphins. I think it has been a lot better. I don't know if it's coaching. I would probably assume so. That's probably what kind of turned his career around. I mean, he's been able to win huge playoff games that nobody ever expected from him. I mean, I think he's good. I don't know exactly like number by number because I don't have a ranking list. There is a ranking video I'm going to post actually on our channel soon here, and you'll see exactly what I think. But, I mean, he's right around Tua. I mean, I'd rather have Tannehill as my quarterback than Tua. But I still think he's good. I think he's better than this. if you're talking fantasy wise, I think if I was ranking 1 through 32, Tua would be higher on my fantasy projections for quarterbacks, like power rank, than NFL, just because he could run. I think he opens up the field for his team. But, I mean, that's about it. He's not bad. I mean, he's still young. So is the guy on the other side, Trevor Lawrence, But it wasn't that great of a game. I caught the second half, bits and pieces of it. I mean, you know what the best part of this game was, right? It was Marv getting it done for the squad. Good old Marv.
At the very end, he had he had a catch right before I think the Chanel catch to get them in field goal range, and then Chanel, which that play with like 6 seconds left, I don't think that was like a give me. I don't know how they got off the ball and called the timeout in 6 seconds. In 5 seconds, because there was only a
London
second.
Refs, man.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I don't know. It really depends how much the refs are on top of it. You could see times where they take 10 to 12 seconds to fucking realize they called the timeout. And then there's times you see the timeout in a second, 2 seconds. It's kind of shitty. That's something I think a lot of people don't realize, is that definitely could happen. There's definitely games where you could see a 10-second different on timeout calls from one game to the next. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, the players wouldn't even notice it either, necessarily. Yeah. I mean, everything.
Well, in the speed of that game,
just in the speed of the NFL. I mean,
maybe a quarterback's noticing.
Yeah,
because their job is
like just the speed of the game itself is like it's hard to notice shit like that. But I think Tua going into next week is a good streamer. I think for fantasy football you could pick up Tua. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're talking like one quarterback.
I think Mike Gesicki was streamable before, and now he's like keepable. I
think he's a lock, like top 8. Yeah. I think he's like a lock top 8 guy rest of the year.
Yeah, that was a big surprise to me.
I was big on him to start the year. Really, I ended up with him in one spot for sure, maybe 2. I'm not sure.
I actually passed over Dawson Knox before he got scooped up for Gesicki, so yeah, I took a chance.
Injury-wise, obviously, it's just Devontae Parker. Nobody knows, what his status is after that game. He went into it banged up. He left it banged up. Nobody knows if he's going to play next week. For fantasy purposes, I mean, I think to Devontae Parker and Gesicki are all good plays going forward and like ownable guys. I think the Jags wide receivers have proved time and time again, you don't know which one's going to blow up. One of them's going to have 20 and the other one's going to have 4, and that's just kind of what it is, But going on to the Texans and Colts game, talk about not believing that plus 10. You remember that conversation last week? I'm like, wow, plus 10, no shit. Then, and total was what, 31-3? Yeah, 31-3, Texans, Colts. Colts stomped them. Carson Wentz looked good. I mean, sure, it's the Texans, but we need to come back strong. I think T.Y. Hilton may play this week.
That's like a pick-me-up type of game. Where it's like, you play to feel good about yourself.
Sometimes a team just needs
get momentum into the next week.
Yeah, to get momentum. And Carson Wentz is still healthy. The running backs are all healthy. I don't know. I think Paris Campbell might be done for the year, unfortunately. It's looking pretty bad. At least he's going to be put on the IR. I think T.Y. Hilton's going to be good to go. If not this week, for sure next. And that's a great sign for me. I love his ass. He's been underrated ever since he's been in the NFL. Oops. Absolutely. T.Y. Hilton has been underrated ever since he's been in the NFL.
He's kind of like another Lockett, where he has like your crazy big games, but then he goes quiet for a week or two.
If you take the last 5 years, he's led the NFL in receiving yards in one of them.
Oh yeah, no. Again,
like
Lockett's probably had 1,000. I think he's probably 1,000-yard receiver in the last 5 years. Each of the last 5 years, probably not led the league, but for as sporadic of a player as he is, to get 1,000 yards is still amazing.
Yeah,
he probably only catches 70 passes, if that. To still get 1,000 yards is amazing.
It was 2016. It was the 5th year from now that T.Y. Hilton did it, but it was like 1,335 yards around there that he led with, like 8 touchdowns, and he missed 2 or 3 games even that year. So like, he's a top end guy. He's like that player I think that could put that offense kind of over the top for Carson Wentz. I think the young offensive players that the Colts have are good, but I think T.Y. Hilton is more than good. He's a leader. I think they need him to show the veteran presence. They need him to show the younger guys exactly how this offense is going to work, what's what, and just kind of mold an identity.
Probably be a crazy good connection too.
Yeah, they just need an identity, and I think that's what he could bring. I think everybody's on ship, following Wentz, but I definitely think that they need him because right now they are tons and tons of young, good talent with no identity at all. There's 3 stellar running backs on the same team. Jonathan Taylor went down and they had, about 2,500 yards combined between Taylor and Marlon Mack? Like, that's insane. You just don't hear about that. Sure, Jonathan Taylor was hurt, but anyway, yeah, it's kind of rinse and repeat right now. As long as Carson Wentz is healthy, I'm feeling good. And unfortunately, with this division, we get a little easier than most. I don't think we're ever out of a playoff spot being in this division. I think that's just what the truth is. And Carson Wentz being healthy is the best news. And the fact that T.Y. Hilton has any chance of playing this weekend is even better news that I think most Colts fans didn't expect. I was reading on the Texans side. I was reading up a little bit about Deshaun Watson today on the legality side of things, and they're saying this shit could last till like 2024.
What? Wait, what?
With Deshaun Watson?
Why until 2024?
There's now 22 allegations against him.
So,
22.
What is the difference?
There's 22 different allegations against him right now, and looking at the legal side of things, it's looking like this could drag out for that long. There is still like trade talks from what I've been looking into, and it seems like eventually they're going to take less, but I think the Texans are sitting at a point where they just waited too damn long. You guys were greedy. Now, who wants a guy that could sit, or Roger Goodell might not want to play? Even if they said 2 years from now, you know what I mean? Even if they said 2023, are you gonna go trade for a guy with that baggage and problems? Hell no. It's sad. You don't know what's what. He could be capable of what he did plus more, or he could just be a rich guy getting blamed. It's hard to say. It's shitty. He's like top of the end talent in the NFL. I still think if he was here right now, he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, that's weird. So players like Cam Newton's going unsigned. He's probably at the very end of his prime, and then Deshaun Watson's going to lose however many years.
If it lasts that long, I think he's done in the NFL. To be honest, as a starter.
It all depends. You got to see if a team's willing to take a chance on it first.
In 3 years? In 2 years?
Yeah, that's rough. It's hard to...
At that point, it's like a what have you done for me lately?
Right, yeah.
It just is what it is. They don't even want to take a chance. What has Josh Gordon done after, you kind of get in that spot one time and you're just kind of there, you know. I mean, for one reason or another, whether it's Gordon, Kaepernick, this, that, they're the next thing. John Gruden, you know, it's like Antonio Brown even. I mean, without Tom Brady's help, do you think he'd be anywhere succeeding? I don't at all whatsoever.
Yeah, I guess Antonio Brown was like a special case.
Des Bryant, Steve Smith, like they had Steve Smith. I mean, had that scenario with Baltimore where he kind of worked it out and found a good team, good. I mean, it's John Harbaugh. You know, he's a good ass coach, and dude, their trading facility is a pretty rough fucking area. You know, so John Harbaugh knows some shit. So I think their personalities were able to collide. But I don't think I think there's a damn good chance Steve Smith didn't find that spot that he could kind of click with. I think if Antonio Brown didn't hook up, you know, with Brady in that way, I don't think he would have found a place to succeed in. You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy, really. It's pretty crazy looking back at some of those guys. But let's go on to the Bears. Is there anything you want to talk about Justin Fields wise?
A lot better game than he's played. I mean, it's his best game so far in his career.
Yeah, I mean, that close to the Packers, right?
Yeah, I mean, defense kept him in the game. I mean, I think where they have like probably 5 sacks, 4 sacks. I mean, a lot of 4 sacks, 1 turnover. I mean, your defense gave you a chance. The rushing has been, even without Montgomery, the rushing's been good. It's really just Fields learning the ins and outs of the game.
He definitely opens up that field, even on like just shitty looking offense or schemes or just whatnot. Just him being out there opens up that field so much to where, I mean, when's the last time in Bears history can you say we went to the next guy as far as running backs and we still like we're not that much worse off than we just were. Like, I haven't been able to say that in years.
They need to work in schemes where they have the wires do quicker routes because he's had the problem, and they've mentioned that even when he was drafted, that he holds on to the ball way too long.
He does.
And you saw that with the interception he threw, and he almost threw an exact replica of the same interception, but they called it out of bounds or something. He was just barely out of bounds. So he basically should have had 2 picks of just chucking it in the back of the end zone because he didn't want to get sacked. But it's like, if you're running the routes for a player like that who has a tendency to hold on to the ball too long and then not take off. I mean, he's got to know when to run and when to just move out of the pocket and then hit that quick guy.
Yeah.
That tight end sitting down in the middle of the linebackers, just waiting for you. 6 yards, 4 to 6 yards, even. You have to have those guys. As you're out. You have to give him at least 1 to 2 outlet passes for a short throw.
It's so hard
always got an out
It's so hard because I think to try to mix, just your general things that a rookie's going to go through and put on top of that, taking Matt Nagy's offense, taking Bill Lazor's offense, like, to me, is there a middle ground between the two? Because one of them is I'm going to pass 3 yards out, and Bill Lazor will let him chuck it like you've seen in the end zone where...
Right.
When it comes to that, trying to find
that
balance though is it destroys quarterback to wide receiver chemistry. Where they know when to come back on a route or they know when to improvise because they get to know each other. Where you can't find that chemistry when you're not even solid on a playbook. And on top of that, he's a rookie. He's learning the speed of the NFL, and those playbooks are nothing like. At all. Like, I can't even say the last time I've seen 2 different scenarios like that where sometimes it's this way, sometimes it's that way, and they're that different.
Right, yeah. True.
So I don't blame him. I think he's a good player. I think it'll take time. One of the best things that I've seen, and I think the defense is at a good spot. I think the division is kind of right timing where I could see us definitely maybe squeezing in for a wild card spot. It's hard to say. I don't think it's impossible. I don't think so.
I mean,
I
it's a
think
3-3. Yeah.
I think it takes what it takes to open up even the possibility is winning a huge game. Not just winning games. I think having a positive record to me doesn't even point to success. It's being able to play at a top caliber level. And the defense is capable of that. I think, like I said, with the struggle around the offense and the chemistry, the problems between the coach, there's so much question marks behind it that I think the best way to point to Fields' success is the defense, and what kind of field position that they could leave him in. When it comes to turnovers or just keeping him in the game. I think our defense is good enough to help him out and succeed.
Right. Where he's just got to be just good enough.
Yeah, or I mean, really just able to learn. A lot of times, the guys aren't in a spot really to do that. I mean, Matt Stafford is a prime example. You see what he's doing now. He never really had time to adjust or do good. They threw him in a shitty situation, and outside of Calvin Johnson, didn't do anything to change that ever. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Did you did you see what he said to that fan
at the end of the game?
Yeah, they called him.
Yeah, I couldn't read it. No, what did he say?
He said, "I own you guys. I still fucking own you guys. I will always own you."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, they called him on cameras. I always own you fucking guys.
I heard, I heard the commentary go, and he's got a few choice words for fans.
That was hilarious, dude. It was hilarious. Good for him. I mean, good for him. I think it's hilarious even as a Bears fan, but I wanted to put up a status on Facebook dude, I think your fans want to see you make the playoffs, not be a shitty Bears team. like it's cool, but it's not that impressive. Go beat the Bills on the road, then talk shit. Go beat a baller team, then talk your shit. But nonetheless, it's still one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL of all time.
Did you see that play though? He pump faked the defender out of his fucking shoes.
Yeah.
And that's the only way he got the touchdown. So that was a sick play.
Yeah. No, I seen that. He definitely did. Hey, going on to this Chiefs and Washington game though, I told you I had a good feeling about Heineke in this game.
So you were wrong?
No, I think he did good. I think they did very good. I think they played some good football. I mean, I think they were a Washington football team.
They only scored 13 points.
I think they played good defense. I think they played Mahomes well. and
it has nothing to do with Heineke, though.
I just think the team played well. I think Heineke is...
You're talking... Wait, hold on. 70 quarterback rating. 182 yards and an interception. That is, you know what? You are right. That is Washington football.
It's some Washington football, dude. I mean, but that's the thing. Good for them is not necessarily always good. Well, you know what I was really pumped about is I made a shout out to pick up J.D. McKissick. Not last week, but the week before. And now Antonio Gibson. It looks like he's probably going to miss this week. And
I picked up McKissick last year for the playoffs, and he was solid.
McKissick's always been one of my go-to guys.
He was a top... When he's given the opportunity, and he's got no other running back to share time with, he's a top 5 quarterback.
It's all about how many targets the other running backs get. That's all of his. He's just a PPR beast. He scored
Right.
19. So that's really what I was pumped for Washington about. But no, but besides this game this week, Heineke, especially fantasy wise, has definitely been a streamer. I seen a stat not for this past game, but for last week that he's had a better. I don't know if it was more yards or a better rating than like Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Like there was like 5 top guy team names that he's been playing better than since taking over for Fitzpatrick, which is just pretty good football. I mean that's about it. I mean it's nothing special. I think Terry McLaurin's a fucking monster.
Yeah, he's a beast.
I think he's a
He'd
beast.
be doing a lot better with Fitzpatrick on the.
I stashed Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back in the league. I feel pretty good about that. I think any team, as far as fantasy guys, like even more so running backs, anytime you could stash a backup to just a team that scores a lot of points is definitely smart for running backs. I mean, other than that, I don't really have much to say for the Chiefs. They're the Chiefs. I am in a super, super rough spot where I'm playing DeMarcus Robinson this upcoming week. 14-team league, like, it's just a rough one. So, you heard it here first. You want a DraftKings guy? DeMarcus Robinson.
$3.
They pay
That's
you
crazy.
3 DraftKings bucks to start the guy. Okay, they don't, but they should.
They don't, but they should.
No, dude, I think he's going to be it this week. Just give me a piece of that offense. I don't care if he's the 4th wide receiver or not.
I mean, I grabbed up Damian Williams once I saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire was out.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I'm like, yeah, why not? Definitely. But yeah, no, I mean that's about it there on that game. Going to the Vikings and Panthers, I think the Vikings kind of showed. I think they really kind of confirmed who they are with this game. To be honest, I think they confirmed a team that will definitely get a spot in the playoffs. You know, maybe it might be the wild card, might be the division. Kind of hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
This division's kind of been shaky overall. I think Dalvin Cook played a good game where you could feel pretty good about his future and how that's going health-wise. I think Kirk Cousins is the main one, you know, being the quarterback, being the leader of the team. That, yeah, I think he's just having a really good year. And I think he's having a very solid year. And I think this is one of those games, you know, versus a team who's also kind of doing the same thing. Sam Darnold, you know, you could probably compare them as far as player-wise, you know, not the best guys in the league, not the worst guys in kind of like middle-of-the-pack guys who has been overplaying themselves for one reason or another. I think this kind of game shows a lot for the Vikings and for
Dalvin Cook showing that he's fully healthy. At now 29 attempts on just running. I don't even know if he had catches, but
no, he did.
I mean,
yeah, he had a good 5 or 6 targets on top of that.
35 touches seems decent.
Yeah, but on the Panther side, Christian McCaffrey IR, huh?
Yeah, it's rough.
Do you have a Chuba for Chuba Hubbard?
Chuba Hubbard's a decent running back, but clearly he's no Christian McCaffrey, and obviously the offense is suffering from it.
You know what's so weird too, like looking at him is like what doesn't make sense is Mike Davis was amazing taking over the Christian McCaffrey role last year. You're right. So I thought, well, put 2 and 2 together. Either A, Chuba Hubbard's going to replicate that a little bit. If it's just a role, Hubbard has to do it. If it's Mike Davis's talent that did that, why isn't he doing anything? You know, it just doesn't make sense. I thought like Hubbard was going to be like top of the line dude right now. I mean, obviously own him if you can. I think he might be one of those good targets in fantasy leagues. Let him go off a game or two and maybe even dump him off, kind of sell him high. Just because regardless of when Christian McCaffrey's going to come off, sometimes it just isn't replicated the right way, in the same way that the starter does it. So I think he might be a good sell high candidate, especially with the health of the wide receivers getting a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, if you, if you handcuff Robert, I don't know, but I don't know if anyone's dumb enough to just take McCaffrey at this point. No, not getting any games out of him and not being sure when they're going to get him. But
No,
shop him if
I
you got
think
him.
I would let Hubbard do a few good games and sell him high.
Oh, uh, well, yeah. I
I
guess it
can't
depends on where you
see
get back.
sustainability through a whole year from him. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot. It's kind of hard to say, but he just kind of seems like that kind of guy where I don't know if he could replicate what Christian McCaffrey does and what Mike Davis
Davis
did per
did.
se. I don't think that. Honestly, I mean, I can't say the last time that they had talent of DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and some of those rookies combined. Like, I think they have really strong wideouts.
Yeah.
Where some of Christian McCaffrey's best years were even kind of a poor playing DJ Moore. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like where he's kind of getting out the kinks. Curtis Samuel was hurt, most of the time. No tight end play. Short, shitty quarterback play. Where I don't know if they're that team anymore, really.
Right.
So I think he might be a good sell high candidate. I mean, let him do good a few times and look how it sees. See how it looks. If he, I think it's just going to depend on how the offense is running, not necessarily even like a per play basis. Yeah,
Right.
I don't even think I'd care about his snaps. I'm sure his snap rate is going to be insane. Because I mean he's a starting running back on that team. But I'd kind of look how the team operates, really. I know you love talking shit about the Ravens. Let's go on to the Chargers and Ravens game.
Um, I mean, there's really not much to say other than you're surprised that it wasn't as good of a game as you thought it would be. I thought it was going to be. I don't know. Did I pick the Chargers to win?
I believe we both did.
Well,
No, we
yeah,
both picked the Ravens actually.
oh, okay, yeah. I thought it was going to be a better game than this.
Yeah, I did
didn't
too.
think that they were going to basically shut out Herbert. No touchdowns. Yeah, that's rough.
I got a question.
Ravens kind of just shut me up, I guess, a little bit. I just talked about how bad.
I got a question for you about the Chargers. Does Keenan Allen have to play better for them to make the playoffs?
It's not Keenan Allen though. It's Mike Wallace's emergence as
Mike Wallace.
Or Mike
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. He's basically like a 1B, wide receiver. He's not a number 2 wideout anymore. So
Keenan Allen has been very, very underwhelming.
yeah,
Justin Herbert has played very high level. Mike Williams has played very high level. Austin Eckler has played very high level. There's another running back that's played very well on that team as well. There's been a couple guys here or there, and I just think, I don't know. I'm just not really impressed. I mean, I'm just truly underwhelmed, regardless of Mike Williams or not. I think you look at a team like the Rams and see Cooper Kupp, and he balls out, and Robert Woods could still have a 100+ yard game in it.
Okay, so if he's caught.
I mean, he's just
13
not
targets
scoring.
in the first game.
I don't see
It's
big
not-
third down pickups. It's more than what's on paper. It's what I'm seeing.
I don't know. From what I see, it's not. I don't see it as being him if he's getting targeted in low. If Mike Williams is the deep threat guy now and he's not getting targeted deep, I mean he is your Adam Thielen. He is your your
I'm not seeing Keenan
Travis
Allen
Kelce.
getting open enough. I'm not seeing him getting open, and as much as he loves Mike Williams, I get that aspect of it. But it's like, as an all-star, which a lot of people point to Keenan Allen as that.
I mean,
Some people even try to argue that he's like top 5 in the NFL. If you're
except
that
for one
guy,
game, he had 5 catches in every game.
you demand the ball. I've seen drives. I've seen times where Mike Wallace now you got me saying fucking Mike Wallace. I've seen times where Mike Williams got targeted first, second, third down for picking up the next first to get the next first down.
Every game he's averaged over 10 yards a catch, except for 2 games this year.
I don't see him being. I see a lot of quiet days. I don't see scoring. I don't see 100 yards. I don't watch the Chargers and think, oh, the defense better watch out for that guy. I don't see that guy when I watch Keenan Allen play anymore.
Well, again, it's Mike Williams getting those deep balls. It's
I see more than who's getting targeted, though. I see more than the targets on paper. I see this. When I'm physically watching the game, I don't see Keenan Allen putting himself in those spots anymore. I look at it almost at times as Mike Williams is kind of picking up the slack that the other wide receivers really aren't coming up with.
Mm.
I don't know if it's injury history. I don't know if it's... I mean, I really don't know exactly what it is. I know his ass got cocky as hell for a while. Like, talking shit to DeAndre Hopkins. I'm the best wide receiver in the NFL and blah, blah, blah. I just truly think he needs to play better for them to make the playoffs. I think that's the worst part of that team when I watch it. I don't think it's a defense. I think Austin Eckler's doing the best he can. I think Austin Eckler's fucking killing it, actually. And I think Mike Williams is going crazy. And I mean, it's one thing to be the number one guy and the number one target, but it's a whole nother thing when you're hitting 6 to 7 more targets than Keenan Allen. Like, at that point, there's a line in between over trusting Williams and not trusting Keenan Allen enough. And I think that's where Herbert's at with Keenan Allen.
I don't know where you get that. I don't know how that's the case when he's a 1,000-yard receiver for like the last 7 years. Let's move on to the next game. We've been at like 10 minutes on this one guy. Keenan Allen's not good enough to talk about for 10 minutes.
Keenan Allen needs to be talked about 10 more minutes. Let's see here. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson's the man. He's good. He's good. Shout out Joel, even though I know he's not going to watch this. The Bengals and the Lions. Jared Goff continues to unimpress. Dan Campbell, the coach, came out and said, they're waiting on Jared Goff to kind of step up and take that next step for the team, and is just hoping it's going to happen, kind of thing. I don't really have a whole lot to say to that. I think DeAndre Swift was a guy that started off super strong in fantasy and now is kind of unreliable or touchdown reliant. I mean, I think he could score 2 or 3 touchdowns, don't get me wrong. I think when he hits huge. I think the talent's there with him, but I just think the team's not good enough.
Right, they're atrocious.
They have to be the worst team, right? I don't know. I mean, it's like
Hawkinson's the only really fantasy viable player.
Well, him and Swift, yeah. Going over to the Bengals side, I don't think it's this year for them, but I see a good future for them. I think T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase are a very good wide receiver core. I mean, I think that might be one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL.
Yeah, young too.
I mean, the only thing I could say other than that would be maybe the Cardinals with Hopkins, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, or if Michael
But again,
Gallup was healthy,
they have youth. They have youth and longevity.
or if Michael Gallup was healthy, Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup. I think like that's kind of up there too. And then
Jefferson.
I mean,
Thielen.
honestly, the Bills is pretty fire too. Diggs, Cole Beasley, and Emmanuel Sanders, and then yeah, that's another good one too. That may be the best actually. Thielen and Jefferson.
1-2, bro.
It's close. Yeah, for 1-2 for sure. But anyway, I just think I've been impressed. I think Joe Burrow looks healthy, and I think that's all a Bengals fan would want, really. I think Joe Mixon has been brought up a lot by Joe Burrow. I mean, I don't know why they've kind of done him the way that they've done him. They've kind of rode Joe Mixon to the ground, so I'm surprised that he's even healthy at this point in his career or able to play at the levels he's playing. So good for him. Good for him. Moving on to the Rams and Giants. Like, can you tell me this, fantasy-wise, how many fucking Giants wide receivers need to be on the waiver wire? Because I see like 6.
You're not going to see many on a team, I'll tell you
that. I see Galladay, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Tony, and I think there's a 5th one even too. What the hell's his name? There's for sure 4 that are floating around going, like people are suggesting to play them and they're like off and on the IR or out for a week. I don't know what to do with them. I don't want any, but I might have to play one of them this week, so pray for me.
Hey, Sterling Shepard, 14 targets in the game.
I'd play Sterling Shepard, but I don't even know. He's like a game time decision, so you didn't even know about him. But is there any? Here's a good question for you on the Rams side. Is there anyone not named Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods that you would own, or could play during a injury / bye week plagued week?
Oh, if you're talking receivers, no, but Darrell Henderson's solid.
Oh, I think Darrell Henderson at this point is a running back 1, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if not running back 1, top 15. Because I don't know which one between Van Jefferson or Deshaun Jackson, but I'm feeling good about a DraftKings play with one of them. And just, like I said, a week with all of these injuries and bye weeks, I feel like you could do worse than one of those guys. Against the Rams, I'm thinking it's Deshaun Jackson. I think Deshaun Jackson can be a fire-ass pickup and play or DraftKings guy against the Lions.
Oh, he's a good flyer, yeah, for sure.
It's not gonna be one of the main guys who's gonna do that. It's not gonna be Kupp or Robert Woods, I don't think. I mean, it could be Woods, but I don't think so. I don't see it happening. But if you want to talk about the Cardinals-Browns game, that's like the biggest one that we were going against each other on. I had Cardinals and you had Browns.
Really, it's so weird because I made $200 betting the Cardinals. Whatever, I'll take being wrong here and being right on the tickets.
Yeah. I don't know, on our Thursday show,
I guess I'm more into it.
Everything you said Thursday was wrong.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where, but I'll take my bets over being right here. I just kind of just owned them from start to finish, but Hunt got hurt right away in the game, so not right away, but I mean, got hurt fairly early into the game. Chubb was already out for the game. I mean, at that point, you knew with Baker Mayfield pretty much having to pass.
Mm-hmm.
If he passed over 30 times.
Yeah.
Oh, he passed 28 times, but he got hurt himself.
He has hurt himself, and it looks like there's a good chance Case Keenum plays.
Yeah, so it's rough going for the.
Fantasy wise, I think I would trust Odell Beckham a bit more with Case Keenum. I'd much rather play Odell Beckham with Case Keenum than with Baker Mayfield. Case Keenum's one of those quarterbacks. I mean,
Landry should be back next week.
Landry should be playing as well. Nick Chubb, I think, is very hard to figure out as far as this week goes. We'll talk about.
They
that
said they
Thursday,
weren't going to put him on the injured reserve. So
no. There's more to talk about. I mean, he's not even for sure out. I think they should sit him. If Baker Mayfield's not playing, they need to sit most of those guys. They need to let them just rest at this point. I mean, what do you want to lose the season for one game? You know what I mean? It ain't worth it. But I think what more is interesting is this the time the Bengals could kind of sweep in maybe and get a couple dubs up there to go to number 2 in that division?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I think if it's now or never.
They're a good team. They can surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's now or never to sneak in there and get right behind Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Your Raiders, man, I know you like talking about them.
That's another one I won some money on. I have had confidence in them. I still have confidence in them.
Yeah, you sold me on them at the end of that episode Thursday.
Carr second in the league in passing overall to start the year. Ruggs has shown that he's probably at least a top 15 wide receiver, top 12 maybe even. And they have a lot of good solid pieces around them. They have 2 good 1-2 punches. That's a solid 1-2 punch. If Josh Jacobs is healthy, him and Kenyon Drake as your backup is not bad at all. Mm. And then you got guys like Renfro, and then you have a guy who is basically like the next. And maybe at this point in his career, he's an even deeper threat. Darren Waller, he's more of a yardage and deep threat. But again, when you have a guy that you could chuck the ball to 15 times and know that he's probably going to catch at least 13 of them. Because he's what
their
6'8",
offense is set up very similar to the Bills.
Yeah, they're very solid. If they just get in a good rhythm and stay in it, they can compete with any team, and their defense is good. Their defense is, it hangs. So, they're a very good team. They're going to surprise a lot of people this year, and again, be another team that is fighting for a playoff spot at the end of the year.
Yeah,
the Broncos are just, they're showing who they are. They're a solid team. They're better than they have been, but they're without Judy. They're a mediocre offense. They don't have a true running back.
I think Melvin Gordon has kind of proven he's a starter. He's definitely a starter in the league, I think. But I don't know if he's a 20-plus touch guy. All-star that he was, I don't think he is. But, his talent at one point was, though. I think a lot of people are non-believers of him in general, where I don't believe in that. I think he's a very good-ass player. I just don't know if he is anymore.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing. I think, if anything, they've shown those wide receivers are some talented-ass young wide receivers. Talk about some young talent. Those wide receivers are really solid. Really solid. Tim Patrick continues, man. I'm going to be starting him in some spots this week. I think he's underlooked again. He hit a good 14. There's only one game under 12 from him, so it's pretty solid. I think they're pretty good. I think more than anything, Teddy Bridgewater's kind of shown who he is.
Yeah.
I think he's a good-ass quarterback and never should have been a backup for any team. Definitely not. Moving over to the Cowboys and the Patriots. Not surprising. Excuse me. Not surprising that the Cowboys won there, but it was a close game.
It's more surprising that it was a close game. I did not think it was going to be. If it was a close game, I thought it was going to be a lower scoring game. I didn't think they were going to go. You can't say that. No one would ever bet that Mac Jones was going to sling it, throw for throw against Dak Prescott. You couldn't. No one would imagine that.
No.
So, very surprising.
Yeah, it hit the 50 over, obviously, so I didn't expect that, but I guess that just kind of shows you what kind of team you got here, and the Broncos and the Raiders are kind of a good example of that, really, is they could play a team as, the Patriots just played the Cowboys this way, they played Tom Brady this way. It's a team that could play hard ball, but not consistent whatsoever. No. I don't even know if you'll see the quarterback play consistently, let alone the offense run smoothly week to week. But, I give him props for what it is, as a young quarterback. I give him his props. I feel better about Damian Harris, the Patriots running back, after this week finally got more of the bulk instead of they had Brandon Bolden and just all these dudes that has been there for years, kind of sharing. I feel better about them.
Yeah, they need more of an identity on running back. It's been like a committee for basically the whole time. Tom Brady was there, except for when they had LeGarrette Blount.
So it's about the only time, yeah. Yeah, Brady kind of changed it up when it came to playoff time, but I think Damian Harris has shown he's a guy. I think a lot of people were big on him coming into this year in fantasy. I think that was a big game for him, especially against that really, really good defense from the Cowboys. I give him props. He got in the end zone relatively quick. He caught a touchdown within the first 8 minutes of the game or so. Got some good yardage on the ground, and I just think he's pretty good. He almost hit about 20 fantasy points. I think he ended up with 17, 18 points. So I think his future is looking pretty good. Speaking of futures that are looking pretty good, let me tell you two teams that are not, and that's Steelers and your Seahawks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was a good game. Good game. Ended on another turnover by Geno Smith, which wasn't great. But, they had a chance to win it again. So, really, it's not that bad. Seahawks could be 4-2 instead of 2-4 just as easily. So, I'm not feeling too bad at all.
Yeah. It looks like Alex Collins, there's a good chance he doesn't go.
Yeah, he's hurt right now. So
you think they're just kind of sharing that backfield? Is Rashad Penny finally going to get a spot? I kind of feel like it's DJ Dallas who's going to get the shot back there, or at least the bulk of the snaps.
Yeah, potentially. He's solid. He's solid enough.
He got some good looks at the end of that game. It kind of went to him a bit.
Yeah, he did. Again, it was a good game, solid game, went into overtime. Steelers, got the touchdown. Seahawks had a chance got the field goal. Steelers had a chance to answer, turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. I thought they were taking it in those last 2 or 3 minutes or whatever it was. But yeah, unfortunate, but that's football sometimes. And,
do you trade in fantasy? Do you trade Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf right now?
Maybe not Metcalf, but I think I trade Lockett.
I think I trade Lockett. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel good about
Metcalf. You probably hold another week or two and see how he plays.
I feel good still about Metcalf, but it's not only as Lockett not really. Lockett wasn't totally impressing this year, even with Russell. So you add on Russell being out till at least week 10. And now he's Geno Smith, and he has fought some injuries himself. So if your mindset was to trade Lockett, are you waiting for a big game and selling high? Or is right now kind of a sweet spot where people aren't really off of him yet?
No, I'd probably wait for one more good game because he's played two mediocre recently, so it's like he needs like another like 15 plus point game.
Some trades I've been seeing is like Tyler Lockett for Cordell Patterson. Do you make that trade?
I mean, not in probably either of my leagues because I'm stacked at running back. But
No, I just
no.
mean in general. Like, do you get it there or for James Robinson?
Me, I don't know. James Robinson's been pretty bad too.
Are you trading Tyler Lockett for Kelvin Ridley?
Mm, Damn, maybe. I don't know. I guess at that point you look at matchups and stuff further down the year and stuff like that.
Are you trading
So
him for Jamar Chase?
Yeah, yeah, I would. That's a good one.
You'd probably have to package something with it, but I think that's the kind of route I would go with him. Would you trade him for AJ Brown?
No.
Would you trade him for Keenan Allen?
Yeah. Yes. For sure. I take consistency over like the sporadicness. I thought he was going to be more consistent this year. He hasn't had that big of games as consistent. Again, I can't. Yeah, I don't like risks like that.
Would you trade Tyler Lockett for Robert Woods?
Yeah.
Would you trade him for Kareem Hunt?
Right. Yeah, now. Even injured.
Right.
Yeah, now. Injured right now. Yeah.
You trade him for Tyler Boyd?
No.
Trade him for Cole Beasley?
Yeah, maybe, probably. I don't know. Depends. That's like another matchup one.
Yeah. Going on to really quick on the Steelers side. I was just gonna say I was really huge on Claypool with all the injuries going around. The target share was there. He kind of did exactly what I thought he would, and not really. He kind of did what I thought he would, and just really not. What's the word? Damn, what the fuck's the word I'm thinking of? Like, not take advantage, but what's a synonym for take advantage? Not. I'm gonna erase this part, but I'm thinking not capitalize. There you go. Okay. So looking on the Steelers side of things, I was just gonna say, Chase Claypool. I thought that, he's gonna get shitloads of targets, which he did. I think he only ended up with about 14 points though. He did exactly what I thought he would do. He just really didn't capitalize, which I'm sure I didn't watch the game, but I'm sure he was getting double covered. I mean, there's nobody else to target out there. What the hell else would you do? You know what I mean? I don't blame that. He's still somebody I think I'd want to own. I think if you got him, keep him. I don't think you're going to get anywhere near the value fantasy-wise. But I do think let him go off a few times and sell him before any of the other guys come back. I know Juju's out for the year, but if Deontay Johnson's going to come back, I would just sell Chase Claypool around that time. If before the deadline. But going over to the Bills and Titans side, take a second and tell me what you feel about the Titans wide receivers, both for the Titans going on for the rest of the year and fantasy-wise, how you feel about those guys.
I don't know. AJ Brown had no targets in this first half and like 9 in the second half, so it's super inconsistent. I mean, I said the same thing about a guy like Dalvin Cook. When you have a guy like that at running back, getting a guy like that in fantasy is risky because you could just be limited on targets just because of how the game's playing. And even when the Titans are down, they'll still run the ball. So even game situation won't dictate extra targets. So again, uh, they're good in a pinch, but I don't know if they're guys that you do DraftKings on, or I mean, and definitely, I mean, AJ Brown, I sat this week, so if he's a dude you're considering sitting at this point, I mean, clearly
I'm not going to tell you not to. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. They're good, but again, fantasy wise, I don't know if they're completely viable because the Titans' play has been super inconsistent with passing and running. Where again, they could just completely go away from the pass. So it's like, okay, cool, he's a superstar, but they're not getting targets. So what's that matter? So
if you were to own one, which one would you rather own between the two?
AJ Brown, because he's got the repertoire with NL.
Makes sense. Did you see that Julio catch?
No, I did not.
If you did not, go look at, when you get a second, look at the Bills Titans highlights. It was at the end of the third quarter, I believe. It was this bomb. Julio and the defender tipped it up, and the defender stopped covering him because he thought it went out of bounds. And Julio grabbed it as it was going out and dragged both feet like 5 yards ahead of where the ball was about to go out.
Wow.
Like, he was smiling his ass off, dude. He was so happy. What do you think? Let's see here. Just the last question about those two wide receivers is, if AJ Brown starts to do better, what exactly do they need from Julio Jones at that point? Do they still need him to be a 700-yard guy? Like, what exactly do they need from Julio to make to keep that division and actually win a game in the playoffs?
I mean, again, it's the same thing like Keenan Allen. They just have to be targeted. I mean, they have to run off. Their offense doesn't have. It's weird. I found it weird that they brought Julio Jones in because their offense doesn't seem that they want to be. When you get two superstars like that out, you'd think that they're passing 35 times a game plus, but they don't. They just don't. So they're only going to help you, but what has he got to do? Block better? I mean, his value is dictated based on how Tannehill targets him or the offense runs him in his routes.
I mean, he's looked a little slower. I mean, as time has passed.
Well, they've both been banged up with hamstring injuries or whatever, but again,
I mean, there's been injuries on both sides. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell if he's been fully healthy even since coming here to Tennessee. Julio, that is.
Right.
It's kind of hard to tell if he's been healthy even since being here. But no, I agree with what you said. I just wanted to hear your opinion on it. I think he could be what could push them to getting a top 4 or getting to the Super Bowl, though. I think that presence will come alive in the playoffs. That veteran superstar Julio Jones presence, I think, is something you want come playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
But to finish it out, the Bills are the Bills. Josh Allen is a damn beast. And those running backs look like pretty decent too. I think they've stepped it up a bit. They've always been really good as far as pass blocking, but this team just looks like everybody's on board. They're fully with Josh Allen. I don't think that they cared whatsoever that he went for that 4th and 1. I think they're extremely on board and they bought into Josh Allen. And I think you see it from every player on that offense.
Yep.
You know? I'm sure you probably don't have much to talk about when it comes to Josh Allen.
I mean, he won me my fantasy. I could say that much. But I mean, I was disappointed for the final drive. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
It's disappointing.
they're a good team. But I mean, like you said, this game doesn't affect how anybody feels about Josh Allen or the Bills. They still see him as a Super Bowl team.
Yeah. Controversial question. Are they the best team in the NFL?
Top three. Top three.
Who is 3 with them and the Chiefs? Got you stumped there, huh?
Maybe the Packers.
Not too bad.
Cardinals actually probably number one team. I don't even care about the 6-0. They've just been dominant on offense.
Does Arizona play Kansas City at all?
Oh, no idea. They haven't.
Yeah. That'd be cool to see. But, hey, man, I believe it's time to get on out of here. It was nice talking. I appreciate anybody watching. Please leave a like and subscribe for it. Just really helps us do more and more, bring more stuff to the channel, helps with equipment, all of that kind of stuff, so on and so forth. So please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope everyone has a nice week 7.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. Good luck. Oh, man. All right.
I knew that one.